Now let's get a bit of perspective on the nation's politics at 57. That's after independence. I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a professor of international law at the University of Lagos, Professor Akin Oyebode. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us on the news at 10.
You're most welcome.
Let's start off from a point where many seem to agree that the nation needs fixing. And I remember you were one of those who had said that the 1963 Constitution is the way to do it. Do you still think so?
Well, maybe we need to reinvent the wheel because there are certain forces in Nigeria that don't want a return to regionalism, which was the motive lever of our development in the immediate post-colonial period. But the problems of today are the problems that we call the national question, then underdevelopment, material underdevelopment, and then cohesion in terms of policy formulation and implementation. I think we have to begin from the point that Nigeria is a work in progress. It's never finished. And when Lord Lugard amalgamated various groups into what he called Nigeria, nobody asked from our forefathers, our great-great-grandparents, whether or not they wanted to live under one canopy. So Nigeria was a creature of British imperialism. And if you read Lord Lugard, his dual mandate in a tropical dependency, which he wrote in 1918, he confessed that the British came specifically for raw materials and markets for their manufactured goods. So religion and development were incidental to the needs of British imperialism. And I believe that even when one of our founding fathers, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was writing in 1947, he admitted that Nigeria was essentially a geographical expression, and that you can't talk of Nigeria as you could talk of the Welsh, the Irish, the Scots, or the English. So this has been the undoing of Nigeria, bringing into existence a political system that should really address the needs and interests of over 400 ethnic nationalities.
But if you say we are in work in progress,
yes,
here we are what we are, however we came to be together. And others have said, what should this name be called? Restructuring, reinvention. What do you think, what do you define it as?
I think I buy the expression which I used here previously, but which Professor Wole Soyinka used. We have to reconfigure Nigeria. In other words, what we have on the table is not working. You remember Ekeremadu's statement about feeding bottle federalism. At the confab, I said we're operating a skewed caricature of a federal system. Some people will tell you there's no ideal model of federalism. But what we have in Nigeria is a quasi-unitary setup. And that is not what we should have. We are so complex in nature. I said 400 plus ethnic nationalities. The only way, like Chief Awolowo opined, for such an agglomeration to exist is a federal structure. So the question we want to ask is this a federal setup? If it is not a federal setup, then we have to actually create the federal structure and not continue to pretend that Decree 24 of 1999 that masquerades itself as the Constitution of Nigeria is the viable solution to our problems. Even General Abdul Salam saw the decree as what you can call a modus vivendi, a temporary agreement pending when the political class decided to jettison it and come with a fundamental law for Nigeria which addresses the needs and interests of the generality of Nigerians. So we are living a lie, like the Patriots pointed out. We are neither federal in structure, and we are neither Republican, if I must say. You remember the story by Mrs. Jones, the British travelogue writer, who said Nigeria was a republic of 100 kings. That's a contradiction. Are we a republic or we're a monarchy? Because I see potentates carrying staff of office and wearing all manner of paraphernalia.
Yes.
But this is a republic. We call ourselves the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Are we really a republic? And are we really federal? So there are so many unanswered questions that Nigeria has to address. And I don't buy the ignorant statement, pardon the expression, that Nigeria has a unity that is non-negotiable.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Yes, thank you so very much. Professor of Law, International Law at the University of Lagos, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.